to northern Iraq to supply Kurdish forces, the Defence Secretary Michael Fallon has announced. The equipment is intended to bolster the firepower of the Kurdish Peshmerga as they battle to contain the advance of Islamic State fighters. Mr. Fallon said that the shipment was agreed after the Iraqi government and the Kurdish regional authorities asked for military support. Britain will arm Kurds fighting IS in northern Iraq and has sent a senior military officer to advise them, it was announced today. But young British Kurds are also heading out to fight against them, some joining the PKK, a proscribed Marxist guerrilla organisation. They risk facing terror charges upon their return. Simon Brown has been to the North London Community Centre, where radical Kurds admit that they raise money for the PKK and have sent young recruits to fight against Islamic State. And they say the group should now be taken off the terror list.
This Saz is a holy instrument to Alevis, a Kurdish ancient faith. These Alevis are a small part of a big community of up to 500,000 British Kurds in the UK. They describe themselves as people of peace, but for Kurds everywhere, these are times of war. While hundreds of British jihadists have travelled to join the Islamic State, increasing numbers of British Kurds are travelling to Syria and Iraq to fight against them and defend the Kurdish regions with the PKK, the Kurdistan Workers' Party, a proscribed terrorist group undergoing a resurgence in the UK. The group was banned following a string of high-profile attacks on Turkish security forces. Despite its illegal status, the party has a huge network in Britain.
PKK gave me a power. I get my power from PKK.
For almost 30 years, Turkan Badil has been a key leader connecting Kurdistan with Britain.
I know many of them. Whoever goes, I know them. And some of them got killed, some of them still alive. At the end of the day, you can't stop them anyway. If they want to go, they will find a way to go.
Turkan told me of two businessmen in their 30s who recently left to fight. Can you tell me the names of the two men who have gone abroad to fight for the PKK against the Islamic State?
I can't give you the name, as I said, because the PKK is on terrorist list of Britain. Due to that, when then people come back, they will be in difficulties.
The PKK had been using the Kandil Mountains as the main base for their guerrilla war with Turkey since the early 80s. Since their ceasefire in 2013, the PKK had been battling IS in Rabia and Sinjar and helped to rescue the mountain-trapped Yazidis. The stateless Kurds are dispersed across Iran, Iraq, Syria and Turkey. In this North London Community Centre, they are meeting under the flag of Abdullah Öcalan, the imprisoned PKK leader. Many would say that you are supporting a terrorist organisation. Aren't you worried?
No, on a personal level, no. We've been raising money for the PKK for years and years. This isn't a secret. The government know this, the security services know this in England. But now is a time when we are going to push ahead to make sure that the Kurdish movement, to make sure that the PKK and the armed forces of the Kurdish people can engage in a strong war with the Islamic State.
The PKK have become known for their vanguard of female fighters. Michelle Allison has just got back from the PKK camps in Macmore on humanitarian duty. She says British Kurdish women are flying out because the Islamic State has declared a war on women.
I think it's quite difficult to know that something is happening, back in your country, and then you just sit and do nothing, really. I think, you feel that you have to do something. When you talk about actually Abdullah Öcalan or PKK or Kurdish women struggle, you're just labeled as terrorists. This is not terrorism. To ask for the right and to ask to stop genociding women. And Kurdish women, I think, are in the Middle East, I'd say they're the strongest headed women.
We spoke to a PKK commander currently fighting the Islamic State in northern Iraq. He says Britain is now a friend.
What is happening here also concerns Britain. We all know very well that the situation we are in has been caused by Britain and other Western states. However, we have never engaged in any ill-doing towards these states. At the same time, NATO and the UN has a responsibility to delist the PKK from their terror lists. We are organised all around the world.
Today, Britain agreed to arm the Kurds in northern Iraq, but with expertise in guerrilla warfare, should they also be delisting and arming the PKK?
They target civilians, they have used suicide bombers. So it's a group that clearly is an organisation that has sort of terroristic roots. I think, though, as with all these groups, they evolve over time, and there is an interesting question about which direction it is evolving in.
The Home Office have said that they are committed to tackling terrorism, but their applications can be made for deprescription.
The battle now for PKK supporters is, can they convince Britain that the PKK is a friend and not a foe?
Simeon Brown reporting.